Welcome to Are You Interested in Relocating to South Florida? Here at Equity Land Title, and Matt Jerry, a realtor in South Florida, are going to be doing this seminar for you guys today. I'm going to start by giving a little bio of Equity Land Title and myself. My name is Terry Duran. I'm the president and CEO of Equity Land Title. We are owned by Greenspoon Martyr Law Firm. Greenspoon Martyr was started over 40 years ago by Jerry Greenspoon and Michael Martyr. And we have over 200 lawyers. Ooh, a little nervous today. 200 lawyers that run. We have a nationwide law firm. I was born and raised in Hollywood, Florida. I went to FSU, Florida State University. I'm going to give a shout out to the Lady Seminoles who are in the national championship tonight. Go Seminoles. I majored in communications with a pre-law curriculum. I minored in Italian studies. I got my first job in Northern Virginia for Champion Title. Champion Title is one of the largest title companies in the Northeast. After my stint there, where I mentored under a great lawyer, I learned soup to nuts, the title business. When I moved back down to Florida, I'm a native Floridian. I started managing a title company called, forget their name now, for 10 years. And then Jerry Greenspoon recruited me to run their title company here. And for the past 17 years, I've been running it. So basically what we do here is we take you from contract to closing seamlessly. We're extremely experienced, and we have more than, I think, 15 real estate lawyers at our disposal at Greenspoon Martyr. You don't need a lawyer in the state of Florida, which is vital that you know that. We can take you all the way from contract to closing without a lawyer, but we have them here if you need them, and sometimes you need them. Sometimes something comes up, sometimes you feel more comfortable with one, but it's important to know you don't need one. We're here to help you, guide you, keep the guardrails up, and protect you all the way to closing. We've been doing it for over 40 years, and I've been managing the company, again, like I said, for 17. What else did I want to say about our company that's so awesome? Well, I think that's all you need to know, except that we're a national law firm. We are centered in Florida. We have offices all over the country. We have one in New York City, one in New Jersey, especially this webinar is geared towards those residents that are maybe thinking of moving to Florida. But having said all of that and giving you our bio, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Jerry, who's our great South Florida realtor, who we partner with here at Greenspoon Martyr on many of our attorneys and staff's closing. Go ahead,
Hi, everyone.
Matt.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. Once again, my name is Matthew Jerry. I am a real estate broker here in sunny South Florida. I've been a real estate broker since 2009. Prior to that, I was a project manager and also in commercial real estate. But like most people down here, I'm a transplant from New York as well. I've been down here since 2003. But right now, I'm not going to lie, the weather down here is pretty hot. But during the winter, the weather is usually amazing. So just a little bit about my real estate team. I'm partnered with another broker. Her name's Orly Rudolph. She grew up here. She's been here her whole life. Went to UF. So she knows the area extremely well. We team up primarily when we list homes, but we usually divide and conquer when we represent home buyers. Orly specializes in the urban areas, oceanside condos ranging from Fort Lauderdale all the way to South Beach, Miami. I usually work with people with families who want more suburban areas. So between us, if you're living the single lifestyle, you want to be where the action is, or instead, you're looking to live where great schools are, we are able to cover all of your needs. We help people, from finding a temporary rental up to purchasing a $20 million home. We've seen it. We've pretty much done it all. You know, in comparison with a lot of other places where you live, the home prices, you know, like everyone else, they are going up, but they still have not caught up with the urban areas like New York and LA. So, you know, if you're looking for a home down here, you're going to find the prices are a little bit better. Good. Now we can get into you know, the overview of the home buying process is what we're here for. So, you know, if you're looking to buy a home in South Florida. Terry and I are just going to go back and forth and jump in a little bit, but we're going to kind of, you know, try and keep this all at a high level for you all, and just, you know, try and stick to the basics as if possible, but the different nuances of, you know, what you need to know about if you're going to be buying a home here in South Florida.
Right. So Matt, some of the main reasons that or in my closings that I've been doing through COVID and even before COVID, a lot of the main reasons people are moving down here from the Northeast, especially New York, basically it comes down to like 5 or 6 different things besides the amazing weather. The first reason, the second, third, and fourth reason, let me just put it that way, are taxes, taxes, and taxes. Number one, we do not have state, we do not have local income taxes. Number two, we do not have state, we do not have local estate taxes. And number three, we do not have state and we do not have local death taxes. So you're going to pay those on a federal level, but not on a state and local level. So you are saving a ton of money when you come to Florida on those taxes alone, which makes it extremely attractive to buy a home here. Secondly, you are buying a home here with a lot more buying power. So your money in New York or New Jersey and you come to Florida, you're going to be able to buy way more for your money in Florida, besides the tax benefits that you're going to have in Florida. So if you're looking at $1 million condo in New York versus $1 million condo in South Florida, you're going to get a lot more for your money here. Lastly, our bankruptcy laws are amazing here. So you are protected. Maybe you're in a job where you could be sued, or litigation might be something that is close to you. You're in a high risk job where you're sued often, or something of that nature. You buy a house in Florida, you are protected under the bankruptcy laws that you cannot lose that house no matter what the value is. So if it's a $20 million house, you get to keep it as long as this is your homestead property and you have filed homestead in the state of Florida. And to do that, all you really have to do is, you know, proof of residency, that you get your driver's license changed, your car registration changed, and you show your deed, and you can file for homestead here in the state of Florida. So you have a lot of protection under bankruptcy law. So those are the main points of why people are moving here. But then COVID brought on a whole new element as far as here in West Palm, where I'm located, they're calling it the Wall Street of the South. And that's basically because so many Wall Street people are moving here because they realize they can do their job in their living room or on their patio looking at their boat or the water or the beaches. So there's a whole new slew of people moving here that are able to work at least part-time, more than, you know, winter months, out of their home or out of their condo or out of their co-op or wherever it is they're buying down here in Florida. So that brought on a whole new level of people wanting to move to South Florida. And so those are the reasons I'm finding. So now that you want to come to Florida and you don't know where to start, some of the differences that we've found talking to some of our employees that are from New York that have moved here, or some of our New York clients, is they didn't realize something vital, which Matt, I don't know if you knew, but buyers in New York pay the real estate broker if they represent them. Here, the seller pays for the buyer's agent and they pay for their listing agent, their own agent. So the seller takes all of the commission, or pays for all of the commission at a real estate closing. So you as the buyer get to pick your agent, somebody like Matt, who's going to walk you through the process and be your guardrails through the whole process. And your seller pays his commission. So, and you also do not have to sign any exclusivity here in Florida for that agent. You can use Matt and maybe use somebody in Northern Florida, Central Florida, or South Florida if you're looking through the whole coastline, something of that nature. You don't have to have one agent. So those are important facts that are way different than New York here in Florida. So with that, Matt, I'll throw it back to you on how to start the buying process.
Thanks, Terry. So we can start talking about the must-haves, that they have here on the slide, and just some simple things to start. Obviously is whether you want to be in an urban area or a suburban area. South Florida is divided by the main highway, which is Route 95, basically goes all the way north to South Florida on the east, along the East Coast. So, usually if you are, east of Route 95, then, you're in an urban area and you're going to have the urban and beach lifestyle. And the more suburban areas, which are, you wouldn't even know you're near the beach, are west of that 95. That's a good way of designating, where you want to live. So usually people who live east of 95, they don't come west. And the people that live west, when they do come east, it's usually when visitors are coming from out of town, which you will have a lot of visitors come visit you in Florida because it's a great place to come visit. Another must-have is, do you need, obviously a good school system? So in the area, even the area you want to be, even if it doesn't have a good system, we have many amazing private school options, that we can help you look into as well. Another option you want to look into when you're looking for a home is, do you want a water view? And it doesn't have to be like an ocean view, but you can have like have your home back up to a nice, pond instead of backing up to another house. And, Florida obviously is at sea level. So, when they built the homes, they have these nice, areas that they put behind your house or near your house where the excess water runs off. And so you can have a water view rather than looking into another house or, have your backyard tied up, which is nice. Another thing I'd like to stress with the importance here is having a garage. Now, garages down here are important because, once again, we're at sea level, there's no basements. So where are you going to put your stuff? A lot of people store their stuff, rather than a storage facility, they store it in their garage. So unless the home has a lot of closet or attic space, then this is the place where you're going to store your excess stuff. And however, if you actually use the garage to put the car in it, that it's a very good idea, because it's not so nice to get into a hot car. I've had the experience living up north, getting into a nice cool car when it's freezing outside. Of course, this is not as close as bad as that, but when it's hot out and having a cool car to get into, it's a very nice thing. Finally, another thing you want to take into consideration is, do you want a pool or have access to a pool? Obviously, the answer to both is yes. Pools are very coveted down here because remember, swimming here is year round. So another thing that, I want to get into more things that matter when buying a home, and once again, Terry, pipe in whenever you like, is hurricane protection. Okay, this is when you start, you narrow down, you start looking at the houses that you like, and you need to consider homes that have hurricane protection. We get hurricanes here. The season stems from June to November. Most importantly, when your home has hurricane protection, you can get about 30% off of your insurance, your home insurance, which is really nice. So, but there's a little bit of a difference between, hurricane shutters, and getting in the weeds a little bit, I'm just going to explain it briefly, is regular hurricane shutters, they come as panels, they're stored in your garage, and they're a pain to install. You need a drill, you need gloves, it takes hours. If you get accordion shutters, you can literally button them up in 15 minutes. It's a beautiful thing. and then you're ready to go for hurricane comes. Now, having impact windows are obviously the best. It takes away sound from the outside of your home, but then also you can just kind of sit back in your house and watch the storm go by. So, that's the best option, of course. Another consideration of must-haves is, do you want to live in a gated community? Down here, we have gated communities. There are certain communities that are gated, so visitors either need to speak to a live guard at the gate, or there's a call box so the visitor can get access, to your community. This is done for extra security, or just, offers another nuance, another amenity for your house. So it's a lot like having a manned or unmanned building, in New York, but it's for your home.
So,
go ahead,
let me
Terry.
jump in here, Matt. One thing that I wanted to make sure that everybody knew once you start this buying process and looking for a home and where you want to be is how offers are structured, which is something that you're excellent at, and not to be left on the sidelines. If you're coming to Florida and you want to buy a house, you either A, are going to pay cash, or B, get a loan. And how you structure a contract on buying either one of, whatever property you're looking at, that will matter. Obviously, the most attractive is a cash offer that will close quickly, because when you get a loan, it takes at least, I would say, 30 at the very minimum to 45 being the sweet spot, to maybe longer to get a loan. So as a seller is looking at these contracts and navigating which one they want to take, especially in this seller market, they're going to look at, is the contract cash, or is it going to require a lengthy loan process? So sometimes people are writing cash offers, which of course Matt, they're getting a loan, which just means that they're on the hook once the contract goes hard, which is after the inspection period. So there's many ways to structure a contract to make your offer the most attractive. And so I don't know if you wanted to speak on that a little bit as well.
Sure, no problem. So yeah, absolutely. So, we usually, if we're moving at like warp speed, yes, you can get a contract done in like 30 days, 60 days if you include like the home search and the lending process if you have a lender, things like that. So, we like to start the process, way before that, obviously, so we can, so you can get to know what you want to buy and get a really good idea of, where you want to be. And then when the time comes, then you can jump right into it and you'll know what you want to get. And then you can, make a choice of the home, when the home becomes available. And another thing, when you speak with a lender, speak with one that closes loans in South Florida. You might know a lender, where you are, but you want someone that's used to the loan process in South Florida. And then that'll help you with your search, so you can know, what you're going to afford. But getting into more what Terry said, how to get your offers chosen. Obviously, cash is a great offer. It does help. I know, you're tying up your money long term, but that's, we know that, the lender's not going to have to, you're not going to deal with, the seller knows you're not going to have to deal with the lender and appraisal and the whole closing process, approval process. So, that's why it makes cash, a lot more appetizing. But, most importantly is that, what a seller is looking for is that, when I list a house, I'm going through offers and I help the seller try and pick one, that one, yes, is going to give them the most money, but they want to know that the buyer loves the home, really wants it, and is not just trying to win the bidding war. So right now, the market, we're in a seller's market. Every home's getting multiple offers. The inventory is extremely low. And the last thing the seller wants to do is, once you pick an offer, you want to go, you don't want to go to, 2, 3, and 4. You don't want to go to the backup offers. You want to continue with the offer. So even though that, say that there's a cash offer out there, they might not be the one that wants the house the most. And, they can just say, oh, I won, I'm going to back out for any minimal reason. So you want to pick an offer. We try and pick the offer that we know that it's going to close. So you got to get your agent to communicate, how much you love the home, how much you're willing to work with the seller. And in order to, to do that, you need to be comfortable with the price of the house. So your agent needs to know, what your home is worth, what the home that you're trying to buy is worth on the market. Now, because the way the market is now, it's going to sell more than it's worth. So you got to figure out like, okay, how much more am I willing to pay? And as I stated before, we're in a seller's market. So, we kind of work with a seller. And in order to work with them, another way of doing this is be flexible. Be as flexible as you can. You should be able to work it out. So if you can, and it's not easy, but if you can close in 30 days, seller wants you to do it, close in 30 days. If they want to close in 3 months, see if you can close in 3 months. All will depend on what the seller wants. Will you let them, stay in the home longer? It's called the post occupancy, which is letting them stay in the home for a little bit of time after closing to allow them time to move out and move into their next home with less stress. This is something that a seller would covet, during the offer. So that's a good way of, putting that into the contract. Making your escrow deposit more significant, putting more money down obviously gives you a little bit more skin in the game. Note it is refundable, it's protected. Something goes wrong, during the inspection or financing, you can get it back, but it's good to show them, in good faith that you're putting, a minimum of 2% down, in order to entice them, say, listen, I really want your home. Next is the inspection time frame. They try and make this as quick as possible. The contract that we work with, the standard Florida contract states 15 days. No one's putting 15 days. We're seeing contracts with 5 to 7 inspection days during the inspection period. Now, this time frame can possibly be extended if there's an issue, but usually put that in, the lower the number to entice the seller to choosing their contract, because they're going to know, they're going to get this. It's basically the hurry up and wait. You're going to get everything done up front and then wait until closing and when the seller is ready to close. So, the buyer can rescind the contract at any time during this inspection period, but we just got to get the inspection company over there, do the inspection, and then, then you can move on. The same goes for financing contingency. That's another nuance of the contract. You should make it as quick as possible as well. Work with your lender if you have one, and with finance contingency, obviously you will. Contract will stipulate 30 days. Some lenders can do it much faster, but acceptable time frame is usually around 21 days. That works for the sellers. So they know that, the contract's going to close within 21 days of going into contract. Now, in today's day and age, and in today's market, if you're financing, some sellers are asking to waive the financing contingency. I disagree with this provision. And once again, I'm getting in the weeds again, but I just want to leave this out for you. You want to have this just in case something happens, or if the house doesn't come in, the appraisal comes in a lot lower and you're going to have to come out of pocket, more than you think you would have. A savvy way of getting around this, and a good agent will know this, is to offer, an amount that you're going to pay over appraised value. Because the home, these homes prices are going up and up, but the home's not the appraisers haven't caught up with the home pricing. So, home's not gonna price. You gotta, at least you can cover yourself by picking a number that's above appraised value up to your asking price. And then how much you're gonna pay up front. The seller is gonna know how much you're gonna pay up front. So, when everything comes in at the end, everyone's on the same page. And the goal here is to make all the parties comfortable with the transaction, and this element helps as well.
Great. So I want to jump in with a question here that we got that says, since the weather's so different in Florida, what do we need to know when looking at the actual structure of a house? Is there a checklist of what we should look for? And there definitely is, because we are in Florida and we are the pretty much alley of hurricanes. There's a couple things I think you touched on earlier about hurricane-proof windows, hurricane-proof doors. There's also roofing. You want to make sure your roof is strapped in. It's called strapping of the roof, which helps your insurance costs, and other things that are like that. If the house is CBS versus frame, I know in the Northeast they might be familiar with a lot of frame houses, and we have them here too. We have frame houses here that have lasted through 3 or 4 hurricanes, which I'm amazed at. They're built pretty good here in the Lake Worth area. There's a bunch of beach houses that are all framed, and they've been through 4 hurricanes. They've been doing amazing. But these items, like the hurricane-proof windows and doors and the roof strap, help you keep your insurance costs down, which is a major thing to think about when you are considering your monthly mortgage payment, because you have your principal and your interest if you're getting a loan, your taxes, and your insurance. Taxes, there's nothing you can do about. You know, you're going to pay your taxes on what they're assessed at, but your insurance you can control a little bit with these items being part of the house already when you buy it. Your insurance costs will go way down. And sometimes that will be the difference between buying a house and not buying a house, because of that insurance cost that could be assessed for that property. Did you want to add anything to that, Matt?
No, that was great. That's exactly what you should be looking for.
Right. And then we have another question here that we'll just put in real quick, and then I'll move on to after you find your house. If you live out of state but want to move to Florida, how do you find an agent? Does having an agent in Florida mean that you have to sign an exclusivity? Like I said earlier, no, you do not have to sign any kind of exclusive agreement with your agent. And Matt, how do you find an agent other than going on this webinar and seeing you and going, okay, I'm going to call Matt Jerry? How would you find an agent just out of the blue? Just word of mouth, referrals, any other sources?
Yeah, so I mean, I actually help people do this all the time. You know, believe it or not, I've helped people all around the country find agents, because it's, you know, it's not, you know, an easy thing to do. But I've had a lot of friends and family call me and say, listen, I'm about to buy a house. Can you help me find an agent? I mean, you kind of want to look, you kind of want to, you can look at the different, you know, who's buying and selling houses in the market. You know, that's what you want to know, is like who is, you know, being active in the market. And you can look on, you know, Zillow, and you can, you know, look online, and you can kind of see, you know, who's, you know, doing deals in the area that you're looking, and you know, you got to kind of scroll down in Zillow because they don't make the listing agent very accessible. But you know, you can look into who's listing the homes, who's doing work in the area, and then, you know, you can call a couple different ones of them, you know, within the area, looking up their, you know, their office, and getting their phone number. Everyone's cell phone number is active, and you can kind of click on them. You can look for reviews. You know, some people have reviews in Zillow and Redfin and different platforms as well. But you know, things that when you do get in touch with them, I would ask them, like, you know, I would see how responsive they are. I would see if they're a full-time agent. You know, some agents are, you know, doing this part-time, and they have a main job, but this isn't their main job. You want to get someone that's a full-time agent, because they need to be available when a home comes available for you. You know, you want to get in as I said before, you want to get an agent that's personable, that's going to develop a rapport with the listing agent, so they're going to be able to discuss, you know, your story with them in order to make your offer a little bit more enticing and make your offer stand out a little more. You know, so, you know, maybe the listing agent will lean towards your offer a little bit more because they have a little bit of a rapport with your, you know, your buyer's agent. But, you know, as I said, look for someone who's actively closing on homes and working in the market. And, you know, that's a good way to start. But you also want to get someone, as we're going to get into in a minute, is people that have the, you know, that are able to guide you through the entire process.
Right. So now that we found an agent, now that we found a house, now that we know we can afford the insurance on that house with all of the various points you're going to look for, now you got to figure out if you're going to get a lender. You can always get a lender through a couple sources. Your realtor, your title company, your attorney, all of them can refer a lender to you, because having a good lender that knows exactly what is going on with your financial picture from the get-go is vital. So if you're self-employed, there's going to be some hoops you have to jump through to get a loan. If you're a first home buyer, there's some benefits that you're going to be able to get in Florida, as far as maybe only putting down 3% or 3.5% as a down payment. If you are a W-2 employee, salaried, that's pretty easy. They take, the 2 years, they take an average, and they know exactly what you can afford. So there's many nuances to the lending side of getting your house, and you want to make sure you get that right from the get-go, because it could be the difference of not qualifying for the loan at the last minute and qualifying for the loan. So that is vital. And anybody that's on your team, like I said, realtor, title company, lawyer, can direct you to a really good lender. You don't want to just Google a lender. That's not my preference there, in my experience. And then your inspector, you're not supposed to go out and take the Google route either. Your inspector, you should always use your realtor as a guide, because they know the inspectors in the area. They know who's going to get out there and protect you. Your appraisal, the appraisal is important because you want to know the true value of the home in that time period. So your appraisal is going to be ordered by your lender, and there's nothing you can do about that. You're not going to be able to pick your appraiser. They're going to be chosen by the lender. And then you have your insurance, which of course anybody on your team can also refer a great insurance company for you. Lastly, you're going to have your title company. So after you found your house and you've written a contract, you have submitted the contract to the seller and they have accepted. You now are going to move forward with the closing process. So your title company, which would be us, Equity Land Title, here in Florida, we would get your contract. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to check that contract, make sure that all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. We're going to make sure that all of the numbers add up right, that all the boxes are checked right, that all the addendums are there to protect you. Then we're going to order your title. So we're going to order the title, and let me back up 1 second. In the state of Florida, every county has a little bit different nuances as to who pays for the title and who pays and who picks the title company. So historically, whoever picks the title company also pays for it. So in Miami-Dade and Broward County, which are the two counties next to each other in South Florida, the buyer pays the title insurance and they pick the title company. In Palm Beach County, which is the next one going north, and almost every other county in the state, the seller picks the title company and the seller pays for it. So that's a good distinction that you need to know according to where you're moving in the state of Florida as far as what your customary cost would be. So once you pick your title company, let's say we're in Broward County where Matt is, and we're buying a property in Davie, Florida. The buyer's going to pick the title company. We're going to go ahead and order your title search. We're going to make sure that the title is clear. Usually it's not perfectly clear. We have to do a couple cleanup items, like maybe there's a mortgage on the property. We're going to order the payoff. We're going to make sure that mortgage is paid off at closing. Maybe there was a death that happened in the previous owner's family that was an owner. We're going to make sure that the probate was done properly. Maybe there was a divorce. We're going to make sure the divorce was done properly, that who's to get paid what at the time of closing gets paid. There's many special little title defects that happen in every closing, and thank God we learn every single day from them. Even though I've been doing this 29 years, every day something comes up. So it's always a learning process, but we're able to clear that title and get you to the closing table on time. We can also be your advocate to close early. We can also be your advocate to maybe you need to postpone the closing a few days because your lender is not ready. We can help you and guide you through the process of your title search, your lien search. So we're going to order a lien search and make sure the municipalities don't have any open water bills, utility back bills, code violations against the property. We're going to make sure that there's no open permits. Matt's going to write in his contract every single time that the seller is responsible to close out any open permits before you close. This is really important because an open permit can be a can of worms that the city can come in, find other structural items that were not permitted correctly. So we want to make sure all open permits, all expired permits are closed out before you buy that house. And then once we have all these searches in and we've done our clearing of these items, which, you know, 9 times out of 10, there's something to be cleared on title or the lien search or the estoppel. We're going to order an estoppel from your homeowner association if you're buying in a homeowner association or a condo association. We're going to make sure that there's no back maintenance that's due. We're going to make sure there's no code violations against the unit from the homeowner association. And we're going to make sure there's no special assessments that are due. So all of those items are particular to associations, and we can guide you through that. When you're buying in an association, there's rules, there's regulations, and there's fees that you have to follow. So we want to make sure you get all of those rules up front in your due diligence period to make sure you want to buy in that property. Sometimes there's a rule that you cannot have a pickup truck in that association. Well, if you have a pickup truck, you may want to change your mind. You may want to buy somewhere else. You also, sometimes when you're buying in an association, you have to be approved by the association, where they're going to make you fill out an application. They're going to make you do an interview. They're going to make you, read the declaration, the rules, the regulations. You want to make sure their budget has enough reserves so that if something comes up where the roof has to be repaired, they have some money to do so. All of those items are important to think about when buying in an association. So we're going to run all these searches and make sure they're all clear, that the seller's paid everything and is up to date and there's no violations, and then we're going to be ready to close. And so what we do as the title company is get all these searches, clear them, then we work with the lender and we get your loan package. Then we work with the seller, we get them signed, all of their conveyance documents signed. We work with the buyer, get you to sign all of your documents. And if you're buying cash, we can do a DocuSign closing. If you're buying with a lender, we have to do a wet signature, but we're able to go to you, we're able to do a mail away, and we're also able to do where we will send a notary to you, or you can find your own notary and we'll send the package to you. There's all sorts of different ways we can get you signed for closing if you're in New York and not down here for the particular closing. We do that all the time. We do that every day. We're very experienced in that. And then once we get everybody closed and signed, we go ahead and fund. We send everybody their money. We wire out to the seller. We record the deed. We record the mortgage, and then we write a title policy to the owner and to the lender if you have a loan. And that is our process. And that is where we navigate and steer you through all of those waters. It looks like we got another question here, Matt. It seems like you need a mortgage lender, insurance, etc. if you live out of state. Will your agent help you find all the people you need, or do you have to find them yourself? And with so many people in New York City, where I live, being untrustworthy in real estate, which steps can you help to protect yourself?
I can take that.
Great.
So when you're working this process of buying a house here, the best thing you can do is you got to get your agent can say, listen, I've closed many loans with this particular lender in South Florida. I know that they will work well with you. They will be responsive, and it's kind of like a marriage between short term between your agent, and your title company and your lender, and you all want to be in sync. And you want to know that your lender is going to help you take you through the process, and that they're going to say to you up front, like, you can afford this. This is how we're going to be able to close on the house that you want to buy. So you can get vet this out through your real estate agent and get a good idea of how the lender is going to be able to help you, because the real estate agent has closed loans with this lender before. They know how the lender works. Once, I always look for responsiveness as well. With all the people that we mentioned earlier, the real estate agent and the title company is holding your escrow, by the way. So that's a very good thing that you have a relationship with the title company. And so all of these different vendors, your real estate agent and your title company can help you work through the process. For example, I just like Terry mentioned, I went through a probate issue. My friend of mine's, grandmother passed away, unfortunately, but she didn't put their property into a trust. So we had to get a probate attorney down here in South Florida. So I helped facilitate that process as well. Whatever we can do to help you get from, getting under contract to close. And the people that we find are not, they're here to help you get from A to B. We don't get any benefit from them whatsoever. We're here just to help you get into the home and, so you can be happy. And that's our job. So, your agent and your title company, basically run the show and make sure all of these other vendors are doing their job in managing the process.
Right. I forgot to say, you also want to get a survey if you're buying a single family home, and that, again, the title company will order for you and make sure that comes in and go over the survey boundary lines with you and show you if there's any encroachments, whether it's a fence or a sidewalk, things that can be typical. The title company will go over all of those boundary lines with you as well. Okay, good. We don't have any other questions right now, but so going back a little bit of all of these people that are involved in this transaction, I don't want to overwhelm anybody from New York going, oh my gosh, I got to find this person and that person and this person. Like Matt said, once you have an agent, you really are starting the process, and then that agent can refer you all these other people. And the same with once you have a title company, we can refer you all these other people, and we'll order the searches for you. We take care of it. We take the ball and run with it. We just want you to know what we're doing in the background, and that you are not responsible for hiring all these different vendors. We can help with that entire process and order it for you. There's another question. When I was speaking with my insurance broker in New York regarding water damage we had, I was discouraged from submitting a claim to my insurance unless it was a huge cost to repair, as I was told my insurance can then drop me at my renewal date and I could potentially have a hard time getting another carrier. Is this the case in Florida when it comes to insurance claims due to hurricane damage? So in my experience, I have not seen too many insurance companies drop people from hurricane damage. I have seen insurance companies drop people for other claims, like a regular flood in their house, like an air conditioning that flooded, or their wood floors got all warped from a toilet overflowing. And a big claim like that, which could lead to mold, mildew remediation, and of course, any kind of water damage, they can drop you for sure. The good thing about Florida is you can always get insurance through Citizens, which is a state-run insurance company, and they usually are reasonable in their premium. It's not an overcharge and it's not an undercharge. It's usually reasonable and typical. So there's always that last case resort to get the state-run insurance. It doesn't have as many protections as other insurances, but you always can get that insurance if needed. This question is a little bit out of my scope, but I have seen it happen, but we would hate to see that happen. It doesn't happen all the time. Obviously, people would be switching insurance companies every day, but it does happen. So I guess we can go to our ending here if there's no other questions, and kind of our conclusion, unless Matt, you have something else regarding insurance or anything of that.
No, that's good. We can keep going.
Okay. Okay, here's a question. If you live out of state but want to move to Florida, how do you find an agent? Does the agent, does having an agent in Florida mean that you sign? Oh, okay, we already did that one. Sorry about that. Does equity land title work in other states? So equity land title is insured in the state of Florida. We do work in other states, but it is it's only in a timeshare division. So we do not do closings out of state. And I get that question all the time from my New York clients. We represent a lot of banks in New York, and we represent their clients down here in Florida, but we do not do their closings in New York. So we are only a Florida-based title company. The good news is we are all over the state of Florida. We have, I think we have like 10 offices in the state of Florida, from Tallahassee to Naples to Miami. I think we have one in Miami Beach, one in Miami, one in West Miami. We have one in West Palm, Orlando, Tampa, Boca. I'm probably missing a few here, but we are all over the state of Florida. So we're very good in the state of Florida, and it's basically any corner of the state.
Terry, you muted.
Am I muted?
There you go.
Oh, thank you. So I don't know how much you guys heard of that. So I'm going back to equity land title being in the state of Florida. Basically, we have about 10 offices in the state of Florida, so we cover the entire state. We are from Tallahassee all the way to South Beach, Miami, and Tampa, Orlando, West Palm, Boca, Naples, wherever you're looking, we are, so we can navigate you through any closing process. And Greenspoon Martyr has about, I think we're up to like 15 or 20 real estate lawyers. So if you needed a lawyer, they're ready, willing, and able to assist with the closing in any way. We have probate lawyers, divorce lawyers. We're full law firm, full service law firm. So all of those lawyers sometimes help in the clearing of the title, which sometimes can happen in, like I said, probate and divorce. So Matt, this question's for you. Are you guys doing virtual showings and virtual closings for me? Let me just jump in on the virtual closing part. If it's a seller document, like the deed, the bill of sale, the no lien, we can do virtual. They call that a RON closing, remote online closing. But we cannot do that with most lenders yet. And then we can also do DocuSign closing for cash deals. So it can be very, very easy.
Yeah, I've also helped people, show houses virtually. I mean, with video, with virtual walkthroughs. I've had several buyers now that have bought the houses sight unseen. Didn't even step into the house before, before even until after closing, which is different. But it can be done, and I help facilitate that and help them, see the different things that they need to see within the houses, so they are comfortable moving forward with closing. I see another question here. The areas I cover. Primarily, we cover South Florida. With my partner, she does more of the coastline and down in Miami. I head up to primarily Broward, and I go up into the Palm Beach County if I need to, but we also have relationships with other brokers that are north that we can refer you to, or give you an idea of who to work with up there if you need somebody more local. The other thing I just wanted to touch on before we close is that when you're looking for a broker, in general, also find somebody that is relational rather than transactional. the clients that I work with down here, especially the Greenspoon Martyr clients, they see me after closing. I don't disappear. I'm here if they need me. I help provide, handymen, painters, advice on if there's, God forbid, issues with your house. I try and, help them, after the closing, because, that's the kind of realtor I am. So if you're looking for an agent, that's someone that you want to work with, that's going to help you, not just to close the transaction, but to, help you with your home in the future.
Right, and I can attest, Matt, you do that. With some of the closings we've done, Matt is involved even way after closing. So, well, now that you want to live in South Florida and that you can afford it, that your money goes a long way here in Florida in general, please let us know if we can assist you in any of your buying or selling needs. Our information's on the screen and we're happy to assist in any way. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, everyone.